Top of the morning, everybody. It is nighttime for me at the moment, but this episode is coming out in the morning because this is the content you want and I have the time to do it. So let's talk a little bit about what has happened thus far in this cycle, um, in season two. So obviously, since the last time we spoke, your national champion, South Carolina Allenby, in what might be, and this is no joke, it might be the greatest performance. uh, Huge comeback, huge resolve, and just phenomenal work by Allenby. So, anywho, a lot of new faces and new places thanks to the transfer portal. Some new users in the league. One returning user and a newer user being brought in by Ricky to play. That's good old Kyle Gordon to play Washington. And so let's talk about what's gone down. There were some early week zero games, a solid battle between myself and Ohio State that led into an Ohio State win, 45-43. I'm proud of my guys. Anytime you play a team that's as good as Ohio State and then a user as good as Harp, you got to understand that it's going to be tough. And the offense seems heavily improved, and that's what we'd like to see as we go forward. Oklahoma and UNC. This was a rematch from last year. One of the teams to beat Warren, and I was excited to see that game be rescheduled automatically. So I don't know if there's like a thing, but Warren went and got his revenge there, winning 58-24. Um, so big opportunity for Warren, kicking off the year, one of the lower rosters. But if you go look at it, there's some talent. There's absolutely some talent on that roster. Arizona State and Pitt had a very, very close game. Pitt could not get it done as ASU was able to kick a game-winning field goal. However, Pitt is 1-1. They do have a win over Washington to start the year. Other big matchups that have occurred week zero. I think that is it in terms of that. So let's hop right into our week one game. So, big win by Florida. They played at home against Penn State. Derek wasn't able to win that one. A lot of picks thrown by the Penn State offense, so a little rust coming in, but no doubt he'll figure some things out there. A huge win in a Clemson LSU game. These are powerhouse rosters. LSU went up 14-0 to start this game, and then was shut out for the rest of it. 25 unanswered points by Clemson, completely clamped Donnie's offense, and forced 3 interceptions. Kind of limited the run game. Caden Durham's still one of the most dangerous players in the league. Kind of limited him in the second half. So yeah, Clemson, your reigning ACC champion, put on a performance there. Big win by him. Let's see if there is anything else that I'm missing. There was I was excited about a UCLA Auburn matchup, and that unfortunately desynced at the end, but it was kind of out of hand as Auburn was maybe starting to mount a comeback, but just UCLA just kind of controlled and paced that game well as they're learning some things over in Alabama for Auburn. Okay, cool. That is it for the week one games. Let's talk about what has happened in week two now. So last night, Florida State versus Georgia. This ended 28-23 for Georgia, but it was not easy. The number 3 team threw 5 second quarter interceptions. FSU had a fantastic defensive performance, but offensively, they couldn't put points on the board. And you go back and you kind of, if you go look at that stream and kind of watch that game back, if you're Pest, you just I tell you, I know there's fourth down rules. I know people want to be aggressive. If Pest would have taken field goals on like 2 of those 3 drives, there's a good chance that he's winning this game as a result, or putting even more pressure on Georgia. But a lot of scenarios that, in fact, there was one sequence in this game where Pest got stopped on the 1-yard line. So turns the ball over. A play later, Georgia throws a ball that's, as he's being sacked, ball gets popped in the air. The middle linebacker has it dead to right, so literally on the 3-yard line, just jump up and catch it, and he misses it. And I was like, oh no. And then a play later, or 2 plays later, they do get the pick six, FSU. So it was just like, even though he technically scored on the drive, even though he turned the ball over, it would have been a way different scenario. So Florida State, though, looking solid. Unfortunately, 0-2 to start. Kind of have a gauntlet of a schedule. I know he's mad at me for that one. Alabama Notre Dame was a fun game. Kind of up 10 in the middle of the third quarter, and Alabama and DJ Lagway, the transfer from Florida, kind of put some drives together, and were able to tie this game at 27-27. But it was not the Florida transfer, but it was the Texas transfer. The wide receiver, Wingo, catches a deep ball down the right sideline from CJ Carr, the sophomore, and that gives Notre Dame an opportunity to kill the clock and kick a game-winning field goal. So Notre Dame able to survive their early part of their season so far, 2-0. Big matchup was against Bama. They've got some big matchups here coming, but that was a big game for both of them, and solid, for Bama, who is 1-1 to start the year, but also, a team that maybe underperformed last year, looking good to start this year. Washington had a really, really strong performance. I won't say it's the debut performance because he did lose to Pitt in week 1, but in week 2, bounced back, went on the road to California, played USC. He beat Still 49-18. I will say, watching this game with a couple guys, Khalil will vouch here. This is not a newbie user. This looks like a guy who has been around, who has played leagues. He ran the ball well. Taylor Tatum has got gold shifty, 3 touchdowns, averaging 4 a pop. And 3 touchdowns in the air too. Oh no, sorry, that was just rushing stats. What am I? Sorry. Yeah, it just hadn't refreshed. And then shout out Tobias Merriweather, the former Utah receiver who I said can't catch. Well, he went 3 for 119 and a touchdown. However, he's up to 97 speed now. He was not 97 speed last season. So 6'5", 97 speed wide receiver 1 for Washington. Wow, must be nice. Must be nice there. Another game where we're talking about teams that just look incredible. I'm gonna read you the score by quarter for this team. They scored 21 in the first, 14 in the second, 21 in the third, 14 in the fourth. That is Texas A&M put a 70-30 beat down on Arizona State. Marcel Reed, the junior, 315, 4 touchdowns. Ahmad Hardy, the transfer from Mizzou, who's got 4 platinum abilities, shifty, sidestep, and 360 are one of them. He goes for 133 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. And then there are 4 different receivers who caught touchdowns in this game. A very balanced attack, the team that can run on you, considering they've got 2 90 overall halfbacks, and then of course Reed himself is no joke in terms of being a mobile quarterback. So big matchup there. P-Town. Life without Tyson is going to be the journey here. He does have Sam Levitt up to 97 overall, but Raleek Brown only carried the ball 5 times for an average of 2 yards. Despite, with Platinum Shifty for Raleek, you got to think P-Town's going to need to rely on that ability. And while he did throw the ball, I'm looking at his receivers here, 82 overall, 80 overall, 81 overall. He's really going to have to find a different identity here. So that is A&M. Let's take a look at some early league leaders. Let's take a look at players of the week. So National Player of the Week for week 1 was CJ Allen on defense. This is the Mike linebacker number 3 for Georgia. He had 14 tackles, 6 for a loss, and 2 interceptions. George Pettaway, who is the halfback for Clemson. Listen, this guy is unreal as a redshirt freshman. He went 141 rushing yards, a touchdown, and then 108 in the air. So a big part of that 25 unanswered. Big 12 side, Nebraska did fall to Texas, but I believe they were able to beat Wisconsin today. 4 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, a pick, and a touchdown for Colin Gill. And then Terry Bussey, wide receiver. Oh, that was a CPU game. We're not gonna highlight CPU cheesing. Let's see here if there's anything else. Yep, Quasi Gilmer, UCLA wide receiver, put up 171 in that matchup against Auburn. Auburn just not really finding their identity early. Has some quarterback issues, so some real dominance. So like, let's take a look here ahead at some of these matchups that are about to occur. If you're watching this, Texas and Ohio State has occurred. I don't know how that went, but I'll go ahead and say what my prediction is. I think that we're gonna have Ohio State by 3. I think this was a close game last time. I think Ohio State's really figured some stuff out. Um, week 3 matchups here. We got a BL showdown between Phil and Doom. Nebraska SMU. We're gonna have Florida State at Bama. Florida State almost had to win at Georgia. Now they got to turn around and go on the road to Alabama. So a rough start for the FSU guys, but I think he can win if he can continue to do like what he did last week. Here's a great matchup: Ole Miss, Arizona State. Ole Miss looking great, number 5 team in the nation. Arizona State's reeling off of a rough loss, but he's P-Town. He's a champion in this league. He can get it done. UCLA versus Tennessee should be a good one. 2 guys that can play some solid defense. Pitt versus Wisconsin. That's maybe an underrated matchup. Both have unique offenses, and that should be. I'm excited. I'm going to be watching Pitt versus Wisconsin for sure. Georgia versus USC, and then there's no major SEC matchups next. Ooh, we've got a rematch of the national championship. South Carolina, Texas next week. Yeah, that one is going to be a banger. Right now, it's number 1 versus number 2. We'll see how things shake out if Texas can retain that 1 seed. But a rematch of the national championship is going to go down in Austin. Yeah, fun one there. So thank you for listening in. Top of the morning. We will see you next time.